Welcome back to Luce Talk. Well, Donald Trump keeps making it extremely hard for senior Republicans to endorse him with his positions on the Orlando gay club massacre, on the Mexican judge, or so-called Mexican judge, and other issues. And most have either endorsed him very moderately or not at all. One big exception to that is Grover Norquist, who, as the founder of the Americans for Tax Reform, is arguably really the founding father of the modern American anti-tax movement. I spoke to Grover in his offices, and he explained why he's so strongly and surprisingly in favor of Trump's nomination. You are being maximally generous to Trump and putting the best possible gloss on some pretty unequivocal policies he's got there. And you are different to many, many conservatives in this respect. Ben Sasse of Nebraska being an obvious one, but many who are saying on principled grounds, we can't support this guy. Why have you got a different reading to them?
Two things. There are two parts to that. One is, I think you see with the tax issue, the first thing that he would do, because it'd have to be done with the first budget in reconciliation. So the first thing he's going to do is this dramatic tax cut, which the House has to agree to and the Senate has to agree to. And I've talked to the House leaders and I've talked to the Senate leaders, and their tax policies are very close to what he wants. That would happen. So if you start with a rip-roaring economy, which is not a bad way to start a presidency, that covers a multitude of sins. Two, I have been an advocate going back to before '94, when the Republicans took the House and Senate, to say we should stop with the president-centric Republican Party. For 60 years, from '32 to '94, the Democrats ran this country out of the House and the Senate. They almost always had the House and the Senate. They didn't have the House for 4 of those 60 years. They didn't have the Senate for 10 of 60.
Switched to a more legislature.
And we got the presidency often. Eisenhower, Nixon, Reagan.
No, I get that.
Now, we have the House and Senate, more often than not, since '94, '95, and they're more likely to get the presidency. Why would we stick power in the presidency? We need to be governing from the House and the Senate, and that includes when you have a Republican president. And this is not a criticism of Trump. Bush, the Republicans in the House and Senate took dictation from Bush. They should have said, here's the stuff we passed during Clinton. We're now passing it again. Sign it. If you have ideas, we're all ears. But instead, they dropped everything they'd been working on for 6 years and said, tell us what to do, boss.
And you have big government conservatism.
Yes.
Couple more things.
Didn't work.
Couple more things, because time is short. But you are, well known for being married to somebody of Palestinian Muslim background. What Trump has said about Muslims is deeply alarming to many Muslims. As somebody married to one, does this not alarm you?
Two things. I think it's completely unnecessary, and I think he misses the boat on what he's trying to talk about and do. Two, we have a Constitution which limits what anybody's personal statements or actions can actually affect. We have a House and a Senate where Paul Ryan's been very clear about this. So the sorts of things that sometimes Trump says would never pass either constitutional muster or Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell.
The president saying this stuff could have an enormous impact on how people behave and think.
It's not helpful.
That sounds like an understatement.
And it's not helpful. It needs to change.
And do you think he will change this? Have you had a chance to say this to him? Look, I'm a good conservative. So is my wife. We don't appreciate this. I've
not sat down with him on that. I just talked to him briefly during this campaign on taxes early on.
But are you going to make a point to make that point? This does seem to be a pretty big feature of the camp, particularly after Orlando.
It's not just Muslims, it's Mormons, it's Catholics, it's Hispanics. There are a whole group of people. Once you start demonizing any one group or talking about people in groups rather than as individuals, you lose what makes us Americans, and that's unhelpful. I understand people in the middle of a campaign say and do odd things, and how they're going to govern will be tempered by the House, the Senate, the Constitution, and hopefully friends that sit down next to them and say, knock it off.
It seems to me what you're saying is all the good things, from your point of view, will happen, the tax cuts. And all the bad stuff, don't worry, the Constitution will take care of that.
Well, the Constitution is not, and the House and Senate are not going to get in the way of tax cuts, spending reduction, regulatory reforms, and his stated policy being a little less aggressive on the world and not occupying other countries, which is very expensive material.
If you found out, though, this is hypothetical, but if you found out you were wrong, and that he could somehow get round some constitutional limitations on executive power on these issues, Hispanics, Muslim immigration, or visas. Would you change your mind about the impact of a Trump presidency?
Luckily, I don't live in a European country where the Constitution is flexible, so I don't have that problem.
All right, Grove, well, thank you very much for your time.
You got it.